So previously we talked about basic things about computer or basic components about the computer. Now we are going to dive a little bit deeper into it. So let's start. So when it comes to computer, we've got input, process, and output. So whatever goes in a system or inside something is called the input, and whatever we get back is the output. And in the middle, what happens is the part that is called process. So if I could give you a very simple example, it would be when we're trying to make juice, we put water and the fruit in the blender and we get juice. So here the input is fruit and the water, and then output is the juice, and whatever happens in the blender is the process. So computer works much like that. We've got input device that puts input, and we get output device like monitor and speakers, and we get the output. And whatever happens uh, in the middle is the processing part, and CPU does that. So here we already talked about it before, like input device, output device, and the CPU. We talked about CPU before, and what we're going to do today, we're going to focus on input and output device first. So input device are the devices that are used to put uh, give command. Basically, when you want to give command to the computer, you use it through input devices. So here we have, actually, let's talk about this a bit more. So here we have the function keys. These are the function keys that has like F1, F2, F3 written on it, and they perform a lot of what's it called, task. And then this is escape key. Then we have got number key, letter keys, and then space bar, and then arrows. So all of these keys have different purpose. And then we have mouse. If we want to select something, we usually use the mouse, or when we want to scroll through something, we usually use the mouse. So both of them are input device. And then we've got CPU. Before we talked about CPU, but now I'm going to, I think, go a bit farther and talk about CPU a little bit more. So CPU is an is a short form, and the full form is Central Processing Unit, and it is also called the brain of the computer. It's called the brain of the computer is because it, for example, when you give a computer work, usually this is the part where everything gets performed. So it's like our brain. Like when I ask you to do a math, your brain does it. So when you ask a computer to do something, the CPU does it and shows it through the monitor. So that is why it is called the brain of the computer. I thought I should explain that. And then we have output devices. Output devices, we've got speakers, and then we've got monitor, and then we've got a printer. So all of this, whenever you give computer some task, and computer needs to give an output, it gives it through the output devices, and that is the monitor and printer. And then, as I said, we're going to talk about CPU a lot. So CPU has this processing chip, and then motherboard, and then this is a part of the motherboard where we can see RAM. I know you guys already heard about RAM. So we're going to talk about RAM a little bit more. So these are RAM slot, like everything in the computer has its place. So these are RAM slot, and we're going to put we put RAM slot. We put RAMs, like these green things are called RAMs, and we put them in the RAM slot, and everything goes inside the this box, and this is what it looks like when you open the box. So here we have the motherboard, and here we have a little fan. When computer works, it kind of gets hot, so sometimes it needs cooling, so that's why we have a little fan to cool the whole system down. And then we have here we have CD. You guys know CD and DVD, right? So these are CD or DVD player, and then we have got hard disk slot, and we have got, hang on, let me see. So we've got lots of wires connecting different parts of the computer. It's because like every single part, it requires power, and you know, we plug something, like we plug a wire to the CPU, and then the power goes through the wire and to two different equipments. And then we've got RAM. So a simple analogy I could think about RAM is that a desk. So it is RAM short form, and full form is random access memory, or workplace of the computer, or temporary memory. So why is it called temporary memory? It's because think about a desk. When you study, you usually put your stationaries and books and copies, and you study on the desk, and after you're done, you clean up the desk. So RAM is like a computer's desk or workplace. When computer needs to work, it usually work in the RAM. It uses the RAM to work, and after it is done working, it finishes its task, it cleans it up, as in it deletes everything. So that's why it's called random access memory or temporary memory. So here we have more photos about RAM. So these are RAMs in RAM slot. Okay, we can talk a bit more about RAM. For example, if you say that your computer has 4 GB RAM, so that means each of these have like 2 GB worth RAM. So like space actually. So this one would be like, if it's 4 GB RAM, so this one would be 2 GB, and this one would be 2 GB. So let's say you wanted to do it like 16. So what are you going to do? So you're going to purchase RAM chip that are 8 GB. So you've got two 8 GB, that's going to make 16 GB. So if you want to upgrade, you can actually do that. So with computer, we have motherboard, and we have all the other equipment. So with computer, what you can do is like, if you want to upgrade, you can, and you just have to change different parts, and put whatever you need inside the designated slot. So that is that simple. So we have hard disk. So these are called permanent memory. Is because in RAM, if you put something after the work, it gets deleted. But in hard disk, it stays. So we have two types of hard disk. We have internal hard disk, and we have got external hard disk. So internal hard disk is it's got like this CD type of part. So what happens is, that when you put a video or photo or a movie and you save it in the computer, it stays here and it kind of spins, and this one kind of gets the information. And then we have external, so this stays inside the computer, and this is an external hard disk. So what it does is it stores memory like internal hard disk, and it's a lot like a pen drive. So we know we have like 32 giga or 16 giga pen drive, and this one kind of can store like 2 terabytes of information or 1 terabyte of information, and that is actually equivalent to 1000 or 2000 gigabyte. So this one, basically speaking, this one has a lot of space, and you can store more data inside it, and it has a USB, and you connect it to the computer with the USB. And sometimes like this one sometimes uh, crashes, as in all of your information, there is a possibility that all of your information can get deleted, but there are recovery methods and you can recover your information. So that's just one extra information, and done. So that would be all. Bye bye.